If you're a complete beginner to bodyweight exercises and you might not even be able to do a pull-up or a push-up yet, today I'm going to show you some techniques that you can use to progress towards those exercises. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be going over some basic exercises that you can do to improve your strength so you can perform even harder bodyweight exercises. So it's important to remember when it comes to bodyweight exercises, or any exercise in general, that you're splitting it into two different elements. You've got pushing exercises, where you're pushing things away from you, and then you've got pulling movements as well, where you're pulling something towards you. Now, it differs from a free weight, because when you've got a free weight, you're pushing an object away from you. But when you're doing a bodyweight exercise, you're pushing your whole body away from, let's say, the ground. And when you're doing a pulling exercise, for instance, instead of pulling an object down towards you, you're pulling yourself up towards an object. So when you're performing pulling exercises, there's a few different muscles that these work. You've got all the muscles throughout your back, and you've also got the forearm muscles and the muscles in your bicep as well. Now, when you're doing pushing movements, for instance, you're working multiple muscle groups as well. You're working all the muscles in your shoulders, across your chest, and the back of your arms, called the tricep. Okay, so when it comes to pulling exercises for bodyweight, a lot of people automatically think of the bodyweight pull-up, but for a lot of people, it's a very hard exercise and they don't really know where to start, or how do they build up the strength to be able to perform it. So to start with, I'm going to show you a few exercises that you can add into your repertoire to build up to a pull-up. So the first one is just going to be called the negative pull-up. So it's just going to be, instead of pulling yourself up to the pull-up, you're going to be lowering yourself down from the pull-up. So why this is a really great exercise is because you're repeating the same range of motion that you would be doing if you wanted to do a pull-up. You're just doing the opposite direction. So to do this, you're going to jump up to the top, chin above, and then lower yourself down nice and slowly. Come back up and repeat. Now, when you first start doing this exercise, you might not be able to hold yourself up there at all. So the important thing is to hold yourself up as much as you can and lower yourself as slowly as you possibly can. So you might start off like this. And if that's all you can do, that's great. Over time, you'll be able to build it up. So you're going to have a short pause at the top. And then a really nice, slowly and controlled release. So that's the first exercise I would recommend for you to do in regards to pulling movements. Cool. Okay, so the next pulling movement that I would recommend for you to do is called the inverted row. So what you're going to do here is grab on just outside of your shoulder width, and then you're going to position your feet nice and flat. Also important to remember, don't sag your hips too far, bring them up so your body's nice, straight and flat. From here, I'm going to bring my elbows nice and close to my sides and bring the chest towards my bar, and then back down. Up to the chest, then slowly release back down. Okay. Now I'm going to show you another variation that you can do once you get too strong for this one, but you might not be able to do the pull-up yet. Alright, so once you've got the row on a higher bar, the next challenge is to come down to a lower bar. So from here, it's the exact same thing. Make sure your hips come up, pulling to the chest, and slowly release back down. Now let's say that you don't have the strength to be able to do that yet. You can bring your knees slightly bent, so your feet come a little bit closer, and it makes the exercise slightly easier. As you get stronger throughout that motion, just slightly extend out your feet until they're fully extended. Cool. So now we've been over the pulling movements, I'll now explain to you some different pushing exercises that you can do to build up some more strength. So the first one I recommend for you, the most, not basic one, but the most common pushing exercise of bodyweight that you can do is the regular push-up. So that kind of looks like this. Situate your hands at just outside your shoulder width, and I try and think about my pointer finger pointing directly forwards. Then I'm going to position my chest in between my hands, okay? So make sure you're pushing your body weight over those hands. Again, I've got my hips brought up and my cores squeezed nice and tight. From there, I'm coming down, elbows at a nice 45-degree angle, and pushing back up. Good. Okay, so let's say you can't do the push-up quite yet. Now I'm going to show you a few different exercises that you can do to build up to that. So the first one I recommend is just a regular knee push-up. Okay, so the best way to get it into your knee push-up is to go into the regular push-up position. Again, chest over the hands. Then from there, I'm just going to lower my knees down. Okay. Then again, tucking the elbows nice and close and pushing back up. Another exercise you can do if you want to build up strength for the push-up, come up onto your toes and then you're going to lower yourself down as slowly as you can, push back up and repeat that. Good. Okay, so after you've completed the push-up and you're getting pretty confident with that, the next push exercise I would recommend is any dip variation. Today I'm just going to show you the straight bar dip. So this one's a little bit more complicated than the push-up, not technique-wise, but strength-wise. It takes a little bit more strength. So to do this one, I'm going to jump up. Hands are a little bit closer than what you would have with the push-up. From here, I'm going to bring my elbows backwards behind me instead of going out to the side like this. Okay? Doing that will cause a lot of strain on your shoulders and could potentially lead to an injury. So remembering to tuck those elbows nice and close beside you, down to a 90-degree angle, and pushing back up. So let's say you can't quite do the straight bar dip yet. The next variation I recommend is just the straight bar dip negative, kind of like a running theme we've got going here, but again, it's a really good way to build up strength. So I'm at the top, I'm going to lower myself down as slowly as I can, between 4 and 5 seconds, jump back up to the top and repeat. Nice. Okay, so that's it for all the exercises I'm going to show you today. Keeping it nice and simple just when you're starting really helps you to focus on those first beginner exercises, and it's going to really help you build that strength up. Important thing to also remember is that it takes a lot of time to build up the strength. So if you don't get the pull-up within a month, 2 months, 3 months, don't be disencouraged. Stick to your training, keep focusing on your technique and building up that strength, because it will happen eventually, but it does take time and everybody's different. So don't be too discouraged if it doesn't happen like that. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Now I got this video idea from a comment I got a few days ago. So I do read all the comments. So if you've got any ideas or things you want to see in more videos, make sure you comment down below. Alright, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.